Ready?
Yes.
I'd like to call this meeting, sorry about the delay. I had some issues getting my charger hooked up, so. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's the general session of our West Point City Council meeting. It's October 20th, 2020. In attendance, in person, on location at City Hall is Gary Peterson, Annette Judd, and Jerry Chatterton. Excused tonight is Kent Henderson and Andy Dawson. And then I'm also joining the meeting. Well, I'm joining the meeting remotely. So I appreciate the use of technology and the ability that we have to be able to do this meeting this way. If you'll join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. And I know it's not on the agenda, but maybe next time we can get it on there so it can remind me, because I forgot. But I'm going to pull up a flag here on my iPad, and you guys can turn and do the flag on yours. And Gary, do you mind just leading the live group just so it's not awkward for me?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
And justice for all. And then I'll go ahead and offer a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful this evening to meet together as members of the West Point City Council. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to represent the wonderful residents here and ask a special blessing that we'll be able to take care of the business that's before us, and that we might be able to always be mindful of those we represent. We're grateful for the first responders and for the people that take care of our city, both fire and police, and those nurses that are and doctors that are taking care of the patients and individuals that are in our city that are and around that are sick and dealing with the pandemic. We're grateful for the wonderful freedom which we have to live in this great country, in this great community, in this great city of West Point, and ask a special blessing upon us, that we might be mindful of our blessings and be mindful of those around us that are in need of help, and be good and nice to those that we come in contact with each and every day. We're grateful once again for all that we have when we say these things in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Item number 3 is communication disclosure from myself and the City Council. Do you want to go first, Gary?
Sure. I'll go first by saying I don't have anything tonight, Mayor. Thanks.
Okay. Jerry?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Annette?
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay. I think this regular session of our meeting has the potential of going quick, but just a reminder, we do have a closed session after. I do have one thing, Gary, if you wouldn't mind taking item number 8 tonight, just with the conflict that I have with that project.
Sure.
And then, I don't want to steal. Well, tomorrow evening, I don't want to jinx myself, but tomorrow evening, as COG members, we're going to be meeting and approving third quarter sales tax projects throughout the county, and we're hopeful that we're going to get the money with Clinton City to finish 800 North. It's on the recommended and for approval list, and barring any weird stuff that might go on, that should happen tomorrow. So that's exciting.
Awesome.
Yep, that's
Great.
another. I think it's about $2.2 million that we would get from the county to finish that half mile, the rest of the project. And I believe I talked to Bryce Wilcox, the engineer at Clinton City, and he's thinking maybe another week or so before they'll have that opened up. And I took a little run down the road today just on my route and went down that way, and it does look very, very nice. The landscape park strips and those types of things that are in that project or I mean, it just really dresses that road up. Very happy with how it turned out. Communication, item 4 is communication from staff. Do you have anything tonight, Kyle or Boyd?
A couple of things, just I guess for the council and public that are viewing this, we do have a ballot box that was installed by the county on the east side of the building. It's in between our utility billing drop off and the postal service box. You can't miss it. So that's where everyone can deposit their ballots as they choose to vote.
Is it open now?
It is open now.
Okay.
Yep, it's open. Let's see, it seemed like I had one other thing. I had a thing for the other items that we didn't get to in the admin session. Maybe I'll just bring it up here. We've had a question on the code regarding the wainscot requirement on the side of buildings. And the specific question is, when you have a third car garage on the side and it doesn't go the full depth of the house, so you have a wainscot along the side of the garage, and then the elevation kind of goes back into the house, and then there's another side. The question is whether the code isn't clear, it just says that the side of the house. I guess there's some uncertainty or lack of definition in the code on whether that now is the backyard or if that's still a side yard. And should that side piece have a wainscot as well? Or is the wainscot more for visibility from the street, and where that's hidden back there, is that required? Should we be requiring the wainscot back there? Do you understand what I'm saying? And then does it look odd if you just have it on those sides, if they don't continue it around the corner on the back side of the garage? And anyway, just I guess for visibility for that homeowner and the cost that would be incurred in adding it. But so I guess the question is there, it seems like, at least from a staff perspective, it'd be nice to have maybe that clarified more in code. I don't know what the council's opinion is on whether they would like to require that on that back side or just the garage side. And if you would like that to go to the planning commission to explore that and provide a recommendation on it. Jerry?
I've dealt with that for a number of years. And Brent has always been of the opinion that if we come along the side of the third car garages are usually 12 feet wider than the house, and they're set on the outside of the house. And so you come along there and do that, and then not worry about the other part, because it becomes kind of disjointed if you have it back here 12 feet in, and you can't even really see it from the road, especially when you get another house next to it. Now, maybe there's a difference if you're on a corner, but then also if you're on a corner, does it make much sense to do that and not do across the 12 foot across the back of the garage? Because it just creates some problems with trying to seal everything up to get everything to match and look good. And a lot of times you have a door out the back of that third car garage that makes it even a little more challenging. So on all of the houses I've done for the last probably 5 years in West Point or so, it hasn't been an issue. Just do along the side of the house for the third car garage, and that's it.
And maybe it doesn't need a code change, but that has traditionally, I guess, typically been what has happened is that hasn't been enforced. Recently, as a few of those have come in, staff has looked at it and looked at the code and interpreted it based on what we have felt is the council's desire to have more brick, to err on the side of requiring that But then that has come into question in the last 6 months as that has been the interpretation and enforcement that we've done. But Jerry, you're right. Prior to 6 months ago, it wouldn't have, it wasn't really looked at and considered, but it has lately. And so anyway, there's just some lack of clarification in the code.
I think, and I know we visited the wainscot and that ordinance maybe 6 months ago, something like that. Maybe time flies and it's a lot more than that. But I'd like to not have to go back and revisit that entire code. But based on some scrutinies of our code, I do believe it says that the wainscot should be on the side of the house, and that behind that third car garage is still a side. It's not the rear. And so based on those definitions, it sounds like it ought to be there. Whether we want to change it or not, it's another matter, but I think we should interpret it the way that it says. And
that's what we have done the last 6 months.
Okay.
But where that question has now come up because we've had developers that have said, we've done this before and that hasn't been required, but now we're getting flagged that it is.
so I think as of today, the definition is it's part of the side of the house and it should have a wainscot. Now, the piece behind the third car garage is part of the rear of the house, or is it? Is that a side or is that a rear? It's facing the same way as a rear. But whether that gets done, it would be up to the homeowner and how they want things to look. It wouldn't be a requirement, but the other side probably would be. And I'm not advocating that it has to be that. I'm just saying, you're asking for a definition.
Yeah.
I think we need to follow the definition.
So I guess the question then is, do we want to further define it and make it more clear and have the planning commission look at that?
Can I chime in real quick?
Especially because you're the mayor, I think you can.
Well, so the thing that we've learned, if we've learned anything the last couple of years, is if our code is unclear, what happens? And right now, I don't think it is clear because I don't think we have a definition of what the side of the house is or what the back of the house is. I mean, we can say we know, but and I think what Kyle is saying is, I don't know, like moving forward temporarily, what do we do? But I think it still does require something to define that. So, and
And we should.
and it's not, you know, the thought of the discussion of is it just going to be the side of the garage? The way that they're interpreting now, if my understanding is correct, is that if it's a certain percentage or a certain length of the overall side of the home. So say, for example, you have a 25-foot third car garage, which is a side yard, and then that and then you go to the back of the third car garage, and then that jets out another 8 feet on that side. They wouldn't require that to be rock or brick. But if it was a longer area, then they would. And am I going in the right direction, Boyd and Kyle?
Yeah, so the way that it's being enforced currently for the last 6 months is if the third car garage extends 75% back, it would not need to be brick on that other side portion. If it was shorter than that, then that side portion would be required.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing too, is not only do we, my computer's like wigging out. Is it like choppy for you guys too?
Yeah, it is. We're getting you though.
I think it's because my battery's dying. I might try to get on my iPad here while we're talking, but so is it choppy on the audio or is it video?
Both.
Yeah, it's both.
Both?
If you
Okay.
use the
All
audio,
right, go ahead.
it might work fine.
Hold on, guys. Oh, uno momento.
I think the summary of what was said though is that we need to do something to define it because the city staff by default has had to create their own definition to interpret the definition that's not clear. So sounds like we better take a look at it.
Well, we'll send it to the planning commission then have them provide a recommendation.
Sounds like on my next house, I'm okay, because I've got a double using 40-something feet deep.
Do I know that one?
Thanks for muting me. I'm going to try to leave this meeting on this one.
That one is 56 feet deep.
But it doesn't have a wainscot.
It might have to.
Well,
Okay.
so I think we do need something more than what we have. That like the problem that exists is just that if we're saying that it's the side, and it's short and it's only a certain size or percentage or ratio, then it's either the side or it's not. It's either the back or it's not. And so, like you said, Gary, we've kind of gotten to the point where we've got our own interpretations and it's been, consistent over the past, Jerry says 5 years, for the last 6 months, they've been doing it different than they have been before. So.
Okay, thank you. We'll send that to the planning commission to look at. Okay. I think that's all I have for staff comments.
Now I've got everything all messed up here because I had my agenda on my iPad and this is not.
At least we can still hear you.
Yeah, it's like not choppy and I'm not looking like I was all pixelated like it was looking like on my end.
Citizen comment.
Yeah, citizen comment. If there's anybody online, I'm not in the building, so there might be somebody there as well. If there's anybody there, you're encouraged to email your comments prior to the meeting. I don't know, did we receive anything, Casey?
Nope.
No? Okay. Do we not have a mic for her?
No.
That might be something. Just for future, but anyway, if you've joined the meeting electronically, use the raise the hand icon for a computer or dial *9 to indicate you'd like to make a comment. When it's your turn, the meeting host will unmute you. If attending the meeting in person, please approach the podium, clearly state your name and address, keeping your comments to a maximum of 2.5 minutes. Okay, somebody's going to have to lead me and guide me on this one because I do not have the capability with this computer being like it is to be able to see if there's any comments.
We do have one comment, Joel Caruso, online.
Okay, Joel, once you're unmuted, go ahead and state your name and address.
Joel Caruso, 457 North, 3650 West, West Point, Utah. The only thing I wanted to comment, I was not able to attend the Planning Commission meeting. And I did notice during the admin session, you guys were talking about setbacks and definitions for the alleys, the private lanes and such. And I was concerned about this. It says, based upon these definitions, the following front setbacks are proposed in the R4 zone. And it has the alleys setback to building 5 feet and setback to garage 5 feet. And I just kind of concerned that they talked about the front of the house being 20 feet with asphalt, curb and gutter on each side. But the way this is written, it shows that based upon these definitions, the following front setbacks are proposed in the R4 zone. And I know that there's a R4 zone going up that this might apply to, and I'm definitely concerned about those definitions. And that's it.
Thanks, Joel. Just a point of clarification. So any changes that we would make that we discussed in the admin session will not be something that the current projects that are currently being worked on will have to adhere to. Those are already in the system, and everything that we do will be stuff that will be moving forward. If that makes sense. So, anybody else?
Not seeing anybody right now.
Okay. Moving along then, we will go to the next item, which is consideration of the appointment of Trent Yarborough to the West Point City Planning Commission. So this has been, I don't know if Trent's online or whatever, but the spelling of the name, we just need to get rid of the O after the B. So Yarborough. But I just wanted to, just with the three of you being there and Kent and Andy not being around, I don't know if any of you know Trent or not. I've known him for a long, long time, his whole life, basically. He's been a resident of West Point. This is filling the vacancy of Corey Cap's spot, which was vacated a long time ago, pre-COVID, and just with some of the delays in that, and then a delay in the mayor just not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Because we had some good applicants last time, if you remember, that we interviewed, but some of the really good ones were right next door neighbors to current planning commission members. And if there's one thing that I've tried to do over the years is I've tried to pick people that represent different geographical areas in the city, not necessarily represent them, but just have a different, so they're not, all on the east side, not all on the west side, and vice versa. If that makes sense. And I, even though I've known Trent my whole life, it was not a recommendation. I received some names from the planning commission that they thought would do a good job, and there were a few that I knew, and Trent was one of them. And I just I feel good about bringing him forward to the city council, and to offer to have you guys consider the appointment of Trent Yarborough to the planning commission. He's got a young family, lives in a part of the city that we don't have anybody else representing, and I think he'll do a fantastic job. Any questions or comments or anything about Trent you guys would like to know? Anybody? Have I been talking and muted and nobody heard me, or what?
Oh, yeah. Were you talking, Mayor?
Yeah, it's like the nightmare that I just go on this, however many a minute rant, and then you guys are like, you've been muted for 5 minutes.
Yeah, will you start over?
Can you repeat that?
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Mayor, is that one of Tim Yarborough's family?
Yeah, it's Tim Yarborough's oldest son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you need a motion?
I do. And be careful once you make this motion. You might see Brian do a handstand out there, because they've been wanting to get that position filled for quite some time, and I think it's going to be good to get Trent on board. So,
Well, I'm going to hurry and make the motion for a handstand that we approve the appointment of Trent Yarborough without the O after the B to the West Point City Planning Commission.
Second?
we have a motion by Gary and a second by Jerry. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, Boyd and Brian, I'm sure you'll get with Trent and get him lined up on getting his information and get him going. He's really excited and looking forward to being a part of the planning commission. So next item is the minutes of the October 6th, 2020 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look that over? If everybody's okay with it, I'll entertain a motion.
Jerry's pointing at you.
Oh. okay. Do you know how hard it is for me to see? Okay. Mayor, I'll make a motion that will approve the minutes from October 6, 2020, our West Point City Council meeting.
Second.
You're good.
A motion by Annette and a second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Gary, do you mind taking item 8?
You bet. Item number 8 is the consideration of final approval of the Bennett Century Farm Subdivision Phase 2. Boyd, you're up again.
The Bennett Century Farms project is located on 1100 North, 3800 West. Phase 2 is directly east of Phase 1. Here's a copy of the plat. Let me show you the preliminary plat that, so you can see how it fits into the overall project. If I get my cursor to work, there you go. Here's Phase 1 that's under construction. Most of the homes are built there. Phase 2 will go here directly east, abutting Lynn Kirkman's property. Everything here are future phases that will be done. As mentioned in previous meetings, this was a small change from the original plan. This is the original preliminary plan. It was going to be a long cul-de-sac with large lots. They changed that plan for various reasons. These lots are a little bit smaller than what was originally planned. However, they still are well over the minimum size for that zone. It's a pretty straightforward and simple subdivision. The only issue was a drain, or excuse me, an irrigation ditch that runs along the back of these lots. And the developer has agreed to pipe that ditch. And this property here to the north will continue to be irrigated until it's developed. At that time, that pipe could be abandoned. All of the other items have been taken care of, approvals from other agencies, everything's in order, and we recommend final approval of Phase 2.
Is the fire district okay with this without a turnaround? Or does that
Yes.
intersection qualify as a turnaround?
Yes, it qualifies as a hammerhead turnaround.
Okay,
They have approved this.
okay, thank you.
It looks like the numbering system has changed since this plat that you're showing us up there. Am I looking at that wrong?
You're looking at it right, because before it was one phase all the way back, and the second phase was just to the north.
Okay, and that's fine. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. This development, this phase has met all the requirements as it says in the staff report. There's nothing outstanding. Does anybody else on the council have comments, questions?
Gary, in fact, on the plat that you're approving, they are the 200 level numbers rather than the 300. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, even, I don't even know if they went that high. Oh, that's not. Either way, they're different. Yeah, we're doing the 200 numbers. Thank you. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we give final approval of the Bennett Century Farm Subdivision Phase 2.
No second.
We have a motion by Jerry and a second by Annette. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, before we go and adjourn into closed session, Kyle does have one other item he wanted to bring up. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the council know that we have last Thursday, we conducted the first round of interviews for the community development director. They went very well. We interviewed 6 candidates and have narrowed it down to 4. And we're going to do second round of interviews here coming up the end of the week. And we have some great candidates. So we're excited about the
Good.
quality of applicants that we received, and just wanted to let you know where we were in that process.
That's awesome.
All right, we need a motion to move into closed session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the regular session and move into a closed session.
We don't actually adjourn.
Okay, I'll rescind that and just make a motion to move into closed session.
Second.
Motion by Gary and a second by Annette. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Though I didn't, what did I vote? That's weird. Yeah,
It sounded like a tie.
okay, tie, good job. So Kyle, are you guys moving into the workroom?
No.
I think we're just going to excuse Brian.
Say, Brian.
on the way out, please.
Kind of awkward.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
And then we got to stop the recording.
Yep.